Episode 4 of the Grateful Gallivanters podcast features a special guest, my good friend Kat. Kat details how she first discovered the outdoors and how her gratitude for it has shaped her life. She takes the audience through her younger days, going from college in Kentucky, transitioning to the big city life of New York, and most recently, moving out to sunny San Diego County. She tells the stories of her outdoor gallivants and shares tips with us on outdoor content creation and how to maintain a healthy balance with recording content and being in nature. It was a pleasure having her as a guest of the podcast, and I appreciate Kat for telling the audience her story. You can follow her and her gallivants on Instagram at just_go_anyway. For now, sit back, relax, and enjoy listening to Kat's story of gratitude. I'm very happy to introduce you all to Kat. Today we're going to get to know her story, and get to know what her roots in gratitude are. So without further ado, here we go.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Kat. So first of all, let's start with what your relationship was like growing up. What age did you first start going out? How did you pick up a love for the outdoors?
I actually never hiked when I was a kid. I went to summer camp a few times, and my version of going into nature was going down to the creek, which is really just a storm drain, with my best friend. That was our version of getting outside, going to the park, just trying to always just loved being outside, but never got to go into nature until I was in my probably college years. I went to Murray State in Kentucky, right next to Kentucky Lake. I had a lot of great hiking around there. But truly didn't do my first hike until I was 22 years old, and I was living in New York.
Okay, so was it around that point in your life did you realize that hiking and being in the outdoors wasn't just a thing, but it was a part of more of your overall purpose or your healing journey?
Yeah, definitely. I think especially living in New York City, the concrete jungle, as they call it, could really tell that that was kind of the opposite of where I needed to be. I loved my time there, but being upstate New York and being around trees and being on the mountain and that sort of thing, really found a place at home and found a place when I was going through a really rough time to heal and to just be myself and also just be at peace.
So, would you say that you experienced a moment up there at some point where it shifted your sense of what gratitude meant?
Definitely. Yeah, I think the moment that happened, I was on my first solo hike and I saw that I was able to really be in the moment. And whenever you're living in the city and you're around people constantly and you kind of don't have a break from the hustle and bustle, having that moment of peace is so valued. And so I really saw and I was grateful for that moment to just be in silence and to just be with myself.
So you lived in New York, like one of the boroughs, or did you live
Yeah.
more upstate?
I lived in Brooklyn for a couple of years. I worked in the city. It was my kind of after college adventure and never knew that there was even hiking in upstate New York. Never had that thought process. I just knew I grew up in a city. I wanted to move to a bigger city. For so long, I thought that the city life was what I wanted in life because that's all I knew. And then kind of needing to take a break from it, from all the people there, realized that a life of more solitude and peace and just a slower pace of life is what I wanted. And that's what really drew me to move out to San Diego as well.
And that's a perfect segue, because as someone that also grew up in Southern California, being in LA, much like St. Louis and other big cities, it can be draining. So coming out to San Diego County, you're not in San Diego, but you're more in El Cajon, Lakeside, those rural areas. Tell the audience about those areas and the type of hiking there is to do there.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that you get a lot of kind of suburban hiking. So maybe you're not in the mountains, but you're mountain adjacent. You're looking at the mountains from the valley. It's really nice to be so close to nature, have a little bit more space, rather than being in the heart of the city, but still having a lot of the similar amenities of been living in the city. But it's nice to be so close to nature, be only, a 30-minute drive to the mountains, and still be able to see the mountains from your backyard.
And not to mention, we're one of the few places in the world where you can go from the beach to the mountains to the desert. So behind us, you see the mountains. So that is Stonewall Peak, which is really popular near Cuyamaca Rancho State Park. And the other way is the Anza Borrega Desert. And on a clear day, we could see the ocean from here. So it is pretty special living here in San Diego County. Do you remember the first hike you did when you moved out here?
First hike I did out here. Hmm. It might have actually been Potato Chip Rock.
Oh, potato chips. Yeah, tell the audience about that. It's quite the spectacle.
It's a great way to get outdoors if you live in the city. It's a great introduction to what there is to offer in San Diego. You get a lot of the views of the mountains. You get some elevation. For people who don't hike often, it is still challenging, but if you wanted to, you could take a fire road up. It's a great way to get people interested in it, and if you just want to go for a quick hike and get some fresh air, it's a great hike to do. Potato Chip, they call it that because there's a rock that juts out from the mountain, and it looks a little bit about like a chip, and people usually get up there and take a photo. But yeah, definitely not the place if you're looking for solitude, but it's a great place to just get out there.
What is your favorite place locally to go for solitude?
Definitely hiking along the PCT.
Which is where we are right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice because not only does it just feel special to hike on the PCT because so many people have, trekked it and have gone for this journey and have accomplished so many things there, but you do truly have just miles and miles and miles of solitude. You could walk all day and maybe see one person. It's really nice, and also out here you get a mix of the desert and the mountains. And it's also nice because you can make your own hike. You don't have to, there's not a set limit of this hike ends in, it does end in 2,000 something miles, but you can choose. I feel like hiking 12 miles today, or I feel like hiking 3.
Yeah, there's different strips that you can choose from. You can choose one down here in San Diego County or go up to LA County and hit the PCT there. So it's a very special trail. Some legends have hiked on it. So we are going to start seeing hikers coming from Canada to down here in November. So they still have quite a ways to go before they get here, but I'm looking forward to seeing them. So would you say your favorite outdoor memory was made here on the PCT or elsewhere?
Favorite memory? Honestly, it might be the first time that I did Stonewall. That was also one of the first hikes that I did when I moved here. It was where I saw some of the most amazing views for the first time. And not only is it a moderately trafficked hike, so you do meet some people on there, but you get to have some solitude, you get to see some views, you get to see some elevation. And I think also it's just a really unique hike. On the way up, you get to walk this stone staircase to the very top. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite memories.
It's one of the more popular hikes to do here. I haven't done it yet, so that'll definitely change. So shifting gears here, we do have a national park that's kind of near us in Joshua Tree, within 2 hours, but we also have other national parks that are in other areas of California. Like you'll be going to Sequoia Labor Day weekend, you were telling me. So would you say Sequoia is your favorite national park?
Sequoia is my favorite national park because you get so many different views. There's a wide variety. There's the forest, but there's the old growth trees. There's the new growth. You can see where the fires have demolished entire forests, but you can also see the regrowth there. I think that's really unique. I also say that it's a popular national park, but it's not as popular as Yosemite. So you can go out super early in the morning and still find some time by yourself, and then in the afternoon see people. I also think the campgrounds there are really nice. And it's really easy to bounce back and forth between different trails. Everything's very condensed.
So you also help volunteer with the fire lookout team there, correct?
Yeah, so it's called the Buck Rock Foundation. They're an organization that's been working for the past 50 years or so to help restore, maintain, and staff the 3 fire lookouts near Sequoia National Park. Their main goal is to make sure that not only do the air traffic control have someone on the ground to look for fires, but also that people stay educated about fire lookouts so that we can keep those maintained throughout the U.S. I think a lot of the fire lookouts throughout the U.S. have been shut down in the past couple of years just because it does require a lot of maintenance. And we do have a lot of infrared technology to help us look for fires and those sorts of things, but nothing beats eyes on the ground to look for smoke. And that's something that we should keep fighting for.
Yeah, definitely. Because Mount Rainier National Park, last summer I went to with my dad. We went to Ptolemy Peak, and that's a fire lookout. And they had to close it because the road leading there needed maintenance work done on it. So that's one area of the park where it would be harder to detect for wildfire. So it's very important that we have people eyes on the ground because in this climate, it can start at any time.
It can start, yeah, definitely. It can start at any time. They grow so fast. And just having someone who not only finds the smoke, but also watches the smoke as it grows and can tell the firefighters and the air traffic control where the fire is spreading, that can help us reduce the number of acres that the fire spreads to.
So I went to Sequoia twice myself. My first time I went was 2018. That was before the big fire that roared through there. And then I went back 2 years after a fire. And yeah, it was pretty devastating. You just remember lush green forest, and then it's just charred. You could still smell the smoke even after 2 years later. So that made me cry pretty good. But hiking the Congress Trail, seeing the General Sherman tree, General Grant tree, those are trees that are legendary. Do you remember your feeling when you first got to General Sherman?
Yeah, definitely. You have a different perspective on who you are and how much role you play in the world. You feel so small, but also just knowing that is an organization that's dedicated to protecting this tree and protecting the trees around there, that every little thing that you do to protect nature does matter. So even though, we admire these big trees and we say, oh, they make us feel so small, also they make us feel so big because we have such a big impact on their longevity.
So with that being said, given how unique the sequoia tree is, would you say that this is the most underrated park that you've ever been to? And give us a converse and overrated national park.
And this is going to be controversial.
Get ready for it.
Yosemite is beautiful, and it has many, many, many beautiful spots. I don't know if I would say that it's overrated, but it has become a little bit overrun in recent years. I love going, especially in the off season, in the fall, late fall. Some of the roads are closed down, but you get to see so many different spots just in their true form without hundreds of people around. I think also something that comes with spots like that with Yosemite or Yellowstone, maybe I would say Yellowstone's overrated. You just find that there are it's great because you want people to be out there and you want people to experience this, and maybe that's where they fall in love with the outdoors, but a lot of disrespectful people who don't take the time to look up the guidelines and leave no trace, or even think about how they're having an impact on the area that they're in. But also just don't think about the animals that are out there that they're not respecting.
There's a page on Instagram called the Taurons of Yellowstone, and we see it every day, them posting about people charging bears in Yellowstone, people going into geysers where they're not allowed to walk through, people intimidating bison and moose, and you're just looking at this like arrogant nature of tourists not respecting the lands, not practicing leave no trace. It really does affect the feelings you get by being at the park, I feel like. So I've been to Yellowstone once myself, and I'm glad I went, but I probably wouldn't return because of the tourist factor. And Old Faithful is, to me, one of the most overrated attractions. It's amazing when it spouts, the geyser, but then you gotta wait another 20 minutes. And when I went, there's a set of bleachers and people were just sitting there, and I was like, I want to go hiking. I don't want.
It's a bit of a spectacle. I will say, Yosemite, I think, is the first national park in the U.S.
Yellowstone?
And
I think
so
so.
that, started a trend for us to protect and to create these national parks so that people can have access. So I can appreciate it in that way. But I think that Yellowstone could really benefit from a permitting system like they've had in
Here too.
Yosemite, yeah, in certain times of the year. So I would say, yeah, I wouldn't go back to Yellowstone. I would go back to Yosemite. Yosemite, there are always many new trails that you can discover. There's many new parts of the park that you can discover too.
And it's closer to here.
A lot closer to here. But I would say like during the summer, it's crazy how so many people go to Yosemite during the summer because there's less water. The waterfalls are not flowing as hard.
Yes.
It's hot and there are tons of people. If you just wait a few months, you might have to bundle up in a jacket and camping might be a little bit colder. But late fall, early spring, Yosemite does have some kind of special magic.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like for me, Yosemite is a top 5 national park. I've been to 21, and I would put Yosemite top 5, but with an asterisk, only if the waterfalls are flowing. It just makes it into a completely different park. Like Mount Rainier all year long has waterfalls flowing, and when we get a lot of rain up in that part of California, those waterfalls rival it, like some of the most beautiful national parks. But it's just not the same when it's a dry park. So I'll be going there in mid-September and visiting some friends up there, and I haven't been since 2013, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it's changed. I hope the waterfalls are going, but I'd put it in my top 5 with the asterisk just because of that water factor. So we've talked about some things that people create content to. So I wanted to ask you, how did your journey as an outdoor content creator start?
My journey to be an outdoor content creator started with just wanting a sense of community. I've been hiking for many years now, and I do a lot of solo hiking, and most of my content is about just getting out there no matter what, no matter if someone's going to join you, or if you're feeling tired, or if you're feeling sore, or whatever it might be, just getting out there. And part of that is just going even when you don't have anyone to go with. But sometimes it is nice to share that experience with other people. And I think also learn how to be a better conservationist and to be safer on the trail. And to know more first aid and those kinds of important things. So I created the page initially to do that. And then through that, I also found my love for having a creative outlet. So it's been really nice to be able to not only do the thing that I love doing, which is being outdoors, hiking, camping, but also finding creative ways to share that.
And how do you balance using that creative outlet with the things you have going in your personal life? It can be a hard balance to navigate.
Yeah, it's definitely being a content creator is a lot more work than I initially thought it would be. I thought it might be going out to nature, taking a quick video and then posting it. It does.
More than meets the eye.
It requires a lot of editing. Not to the point where, you're creating a fake experience or anything like that, but nature is so beautiful that it's so hard to capture the actual experience. And so you have to be a bit creative to be able to show the different views when you're at one spot, or to show the trail, or to get people really immersive in the moment. So there definitely is a balance there of, I want to create the content and make people feel like they're in the moment, but I also want to live my life. And when I take the content, I do my best to not be taken out of the moment. And so I do that by carrying a gimbal, or I have a 360 camera now, things that don't require me to do a lot of looking at my phone while I am taking the actual content. Another great example is the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You just put them on.
You have them?
Click one button. Yeah. Not right now, but yeah, it's super easy. And it's really nice when you're hiking with other people too, because it's not disruptive at all. Like you're just clicking a button on your phone, on your glasses,
Yeah.
and you're recording.
Does the quality come out?
The quality is decent. I wouldn't say it's as good as your phone,
Okay.
or like an actual camera, but definitely good for kind of action shots or in the moment, or if you're doing things with both of your hands, like using trekking poles.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get some shots.
That's good. Yeah, it can be a really hard balance to follow, and I'm glad you brought up being mindful in nature. I have to navigate that balance. Sometimes I'm out on the trail and I don't pull out my phone at all because I want to be present in nature, because there's just a sense of energy that you get. It's has a healing it has a healing sense. And if you're on your phone content creating, you may not get, healing type.
Yeah, I feel like the whole point for going outside is to kind of get away from the screens. So even though I am on my phone taking some videos and things like that, I try to keep it to a minimum or make it as easy as possible to not get pulled out of it, because I do spend so much of my everyday life looking at a computer, looking at my phone,
Yeah.
those sorts of things.
How would you say that your sense of gratitude has transformed since your content creating journey began?
I find a lot more gratitude because other people have shown me their gratitude for my content. So it's kind of secondary gratitude. But sometimes, I'll go somewhere even local, like a trail down the street, and someone will say, "Oh, that's so beautiful. I wish I had a view like that near me." And it really makes me step back and think, yeah, just because I'm not on top of the mountain doesn't mean that I'm not in a beautiful view. Something like that. Or if I am at the top of the mountain, someone who doesn't have the mobility or the physical health to do it, it's really nice to have that gratitude to say, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
Yeah, we were talking earlier off camera about that perspective, and perspective is everything. Like I live here in Mount Laguna, and it may not be as beautiful as the Sierras, but I'm still in the forest, and there's people that live in the Midwest with no views but hay fields and cornfields. So perspective is everything. Life is what you make, and it seems like you're making the best out of your life here in California. So I respect you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to go through the gratitude round now. So these are going to be quick hitter questions for you. So first one is one place in nature you're always grateful for.
One place in nature. In general, in the mountains, I guess anytime that I'm among like big trees, so like pines and aspen trees,
Love it.
just being surrounded by them and, not seeing a lot of other things. Like, even though some people might be on a trail and say, "Oh, there's no view, I'm just seeing trees," like that's kind of my favorite part.
Defeats the purpose. Those are the views.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is one person do you always try and go out in nature with?
Definitely, definitely my friend Faith. She has really grown my sense of confidence and adventure for the outdoors. We grew up together in the city and always tried to find a way to get outside. But as adults, we found a way every single year to go on some kind of trip, to see something new, to get outside, to conquer some peak that is, pushing the limits of our physicality, making us step out of our comfort zone a bit. And it's really nice to be with someone who not only appreciates that and has the confidence and makes me challenge myself, but also someone who just loves nature so much. She's a biologist, and so she has a lot of knowledge about plants and animals, and I love just learning from her.
She was in Alaska for a period of time, right?
Yeah, she lived in Fairbanks, and got to see the great outdoors. Untouched, lived in a dry cabin. She would be amazing on your podcast.
She may be a guest. Who knows?
But yeah, she has many, many stories of, surviving and living in the outdoors.
It's important to have those kind of friends who can not only tell you those stories, but also share those experiences with you. It makes you a more seasoned, outdoorsy type of person. So I have mentors like that who've scaled 14,000-foot peaks, who've done the PCT, and just having knowledge that we can learn from them and hearing about their experiences is a really cool thing.
Yeah. I would also say she's just a person who has a lot of gratitude. Like, I think of anyone in my life I could gush on, but she has the most.
Give her flowers. Yeah.
She has the most gratitude for nature and just life in general, and I really appreciate that.
That's really cool. Really gratifying to hear. So what's one sound or texture or smell that brings you home?
Sound, smell, or texture.
Mm-hmm.
I guess sound, it would just have to be like the crickets at night, when you're camping and you can just sit in your tent or sit in your car, however you're camping, and just listen to them chirp. It's just very relaxing. It's calming. There's a rhythm. it's a reminder that, things slow down, but there's so much around you that you're not even paying attention to if you're not looking for it.
That's a very wise line. Yeah. I'd say for me, a smell would be the smell of the Jeffrey pine.
Mm.
They have sap that gives off a resin that smells like butterscotch or vanilla. And ponderosa pines have a similar smell, but it's really with the Jeffrey pine that these turpentines excrete this smell. So you're walking in the forest over there in the middle of the summer, and you can just smell butterscotch if you take a nice deep whiff. So I think it's important to make those type of observations about nature. You develop a passion for taking those sensations, and it keeps making you want to return. So I love living up here myself. So I am all about humor, making people laugh, because I feel like that goes a lot into gratitude. So what's something that made you laugh this week?
Something that made me laugh this week. For a second.
We stumped her.
I know, right? I'm like, so many things. I feel like I try to laugh as much as possible. It's so important. Sometimes even just kind of faking it till you make it kind of laugh. I do that a lot to myself if I'm stressed or if I'm dealing with a lot of different things. I'll just this sounds corny, but do laughing exercises to make myself laugh.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And it works. It makes you feel great. Your body doesn't know the difference between a fake laugh and a real laugh.
Yep.
And so ultimately your mood will boost every time that you laugh.
Exactly.
But yeah, I watch a lot of comedy specials, and I really enjoy just listening to comics tell their jokes and
Who's
that
your
sort of
favorite
thing.
comedian or top 3?
Oh gosh. Shane Gillis.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah.
Yep. He roasted people at those ESPYs. He went on a legendary roast.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Okay. Yeah, I like Bill Burr myself. I think he's pretty funny, but Shane Gillis is funny, no doubt. So we talked about mood boosters. What's one quote that you always return to when you need to pick yourself up?
You haven't lived the best days of your life yet. I have no idea who said that, but it's a good reminder that even though I've had so many amazing memories and I've been on so many epic trips, there are so many that I've still yet to live. So live every moment, and you never know when the next amazing moment's going to happen.
Yeah, because the best is yet to come, for sure. So last question, what's one thing that you're learning to be grateful for, even if it's been hard for you to do so?
I'm grateful for elevation. I really struggle hiking uphill. I'm usually someone who's huffing and puffing and needs a break. And sometimes I get down on myself because I'm not at the physical peak that I would like to be at. And I want to be faster, and I want to be more in shape, and those kinds of things that I am working towards. But I am thankful for the challenge, and I'm thankful that my body can push through the pain and push through the challenge to get to where I want to go. And also, usually with the elevation comes beautiful views like this.
Very true. We're here now, and I'd say that your younger self would probably be proud of you for being here. So I'm gonna leave the audience with this. If you could talk to your younger self, what words of wisdom would you impart to her?
How do I say this? I would tell her that the future is bright and there's so much to look forward to. And even when times are tough, then and there, the future is going to be so exciting. You're going to see so many places. The world is going to get so much larger than you could ever imagine.
Very wise words. And clearly, Kat is feeling gratitude. So, Kat, I am grateful that you took the time to hike up here to Garnet Peak with me. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm really looking forward to the audience getting to know you more too. I really appreciate the content that you put out. I've learned a lot from just seeing her post, and she is on the right path to grow her platform. And I'm looking forward to seeing how her page grows. So, Kat, thank you for being here today. And we will talk to you guys soon. Until then, peace.